Bang Chan walked into the room like a ghost no one had expected. Not a star, not a leader, not a demigod of the fandom wrapped in thick socks and a wireless mic, just a living body. Entering a space filled with eyes locked on something else, arms lifted, phone synced, click, click, click. No hello, no thank you. Just an algorithmic silence between two beauty filters. And him, standing there, like the air had frozen into a JPEG. He looked around, slowly. No screaming, no exchange, just lenses. He could have left, he could have smiled, he could have brushed it off, but he said something ordinary, and absolutely explosive. If you respect me, I respect you. If you cross the line, I wouldn't do that if I were you. It wasn't a slogan, not a moral lesson, just a statement. Like a last-ditch attempt at communication between two species who no longer share a common language. And yet, in the minutes that followed, that one sentence became a war, a wildfire. A micro-live turned into a courtroom in real time. This wasn't supposed to be an episode. But when discomfort goes viral, it deserves a mic. And a cup of boiling coffee. So today, we're talking about respect. Not platform policies, fandom etiquette, or the invisible bodyguards behind the scenes. Raw respect. The kind that lives between you and someone you admire when you're faced with a choice, to watch them or to record them. This isn't a pro-idol rant. It's not a fandom manifesto. It's not even a virtuous call-out. It's just a question. One that was left hanging in the air that night. Do you still see artists when you look at them? Or do you only see what they can produce for you? A fan cam. A moment of validation. A proof you were there, even if you weren't really there at all. Because there's a massive difference between being present and documenting your presence. This isn't the first time an artist has spoken up. It won't be the last. But this time, it hit Chan. And it hit hard. Not because he yelled, but because he didn't. Because he spoke like someone who still held on to a shred of hope that a human voice could break through the white noise. So today, we're gonna break down that moment. Not to figure out who was right or wrong, but to understand what slipped through the cracks. What's at stake when a gaze is traded for a zoom? What gets erased when reality becomes content? And if your first thought is, it's not that deep, or everyone films now, or that's just the game, then stay with me till the end. Because this isn't about banning phones. It's about the inability to just be. And spoiler alert, that's not a rules problem. It's a wiring problem. A striatum in overdrive. A dopamine loop convincing you to capture instead of live. We'll get to that. In a few minutes, put your phone down. Or don't. But at least know what your brain is doing while you think you're living something real. It might just be drafting your next piece of social proof.
Cappuccino, egg, sharp minds, brewed hot, sure bra. No sugar, no filter. Sip, think, repeat, repeat, repeat.
It's almost become a rite of passage. You can't be a star without someone glued to your car door. You can't land at an airport without a procession of trembling phones waiting to catch you. You can't even check into a hotel without hoping no one leaked the address while you were wiping your feet on the reception mat. On the 31st of July, 2025, Bang Chan stepped into this mess not with the fury of a disrespected artist, but with the exhaustion of a man watching his personal space turn into an all-access bar for any geotagged pseudo-fan. In his live, he explicitly mentioned the behaviors he's no longer willing to ignore. People following him at airports, filming him without a hello, showing up in places they have no reason to be except for the apparently sacred excuse of being fans. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't dramatize. He simply said, "This isn't respect." And that was enough to jolt part of the fan base that still believes an artist's privacy is a public service. But this moment, disturbing as it is, isn't unique. It's the visible symptom of something deeper within pop culture. Soft invasion disguised as passion, validated by platforms, and sold as engagement. It's not the first time an idol has addressed this intrusion. V from BTS has already said he avoids certain flights because people buy the same tickets just to accidentally run into him. Yeonjun from TXT was clear too. He's tired of being filmed at close range outside his professional setting. Madison Beer talked about her anxiety in public as early as 2019, after being followed into an underground parking lot. Most recently, Chappell Roan had to remind her own audience that she wasn't there for content, but to perform. So no, this isn't just a K-pop issue. It's a global cultural problem, an emotional industry where artist presence is exploited as a live feed of attention. The real concern is that this intrusion is no longer an exception. It's a feature, a product, a strategic design to feed insatiable algorithms. The more accessible the artist, the faster content spreads. The closer fans feel, the higher the views. And the higher the views go, the more agencies look away. Bang Chan can say what he wants, but nothing suggests the company will reinforce the rules. Nothing guarantees staff will step in when he's surrounded by 20 phones in a hotel lobby. Because ultimately, everyone profits from the noise. Discomfort is lucrative, and violence, when it's quiet, becomes invisible. Let's be honest, even artists are trapped. They want to stay close. They want to thank their fans. They want to keep the connection alive. And sometimes that connection strangles them. There's no clear line anymore between adoration and parasitism. One day you offer a photo, the next you're apologizing for going to the bathroom without makeup. Because what fans consume today isn't just the music, it's the availability. What Chan did on the 31st of July wasn't a declaration of war. It was a desperate attempt to renegotiate the unspoken contract. I want to respect you, but don't ask me to disappear just so you can frame me better. This isn't about politeness, it's about territory, about space, about air. Because an airport is not a fan zone, a hotel is not a meet and greet, and a glance on the street is not emotional property. There's nothing more twisted than a system where this kind of invasion becomes expected. We're not talking about isolated stalkers anymore. And we're talking about a broader shift, a blurring of lines between the stage and backstage. We're no longer just selling music, we're selling access, proximity, the illusion of intimacy. And we're letting everyone believe that this proximity justifies the intrusion. It's not just a lack of etiquette, it's a cultural issue, a marketing strategy, a flaw in how social design is weaponized. Fans are trained to think they're part of the narrative, that they're essential, that their presence, even when invasive, is a tribute. We call it fandom culture, engagement, connection. But if you have to hide to sleep, justify going outside, and stay on alert just to breathe, that's not connection, that's captivity. You can love an artist with all your heart. You can want to be like them. You can want to say thank you. But if your love crosses the boundary of basic respect, it's no longer love. It's a displaced need. And that need, you didn't invent it alone. It was encouraged, nurtured, and monetized. When Chan says this isn't respect, he's not just speaking to fans. He's also speaking to an industry that no longer protects the people it promotes, to an era that confuses engagement with control, to algorithms that prefer shaky, raw clips over sincere moments. And he's speaking to us, to you, to me, to the people who sometimes forget whether they're watching a human being or an opportunity for content. What happens next depends on what we choose to hear, not what we choose to film, what we're really listening to. Beneath the exhaustion, behind the smile. Because one day, it won't be the artist we lose. It'll be the ability to be present without taking something that was never ours to begin with.
Tunnel whispers got you sent on me, on me, on me. Mark the times you crossed without a key. No key, no key. Every signal flickers you to me, to me, to me. I don't chase, I just believe. Static hum never speak, but I'm there in the glass on repeat, repeat. And it's safe when I don't breathe, when you ride and I just speak. Rough track, no retreat. Yeah, this line never sleeps. I sit still, but I'm aligned so close. Time my pulse to every wheel you wind, your ghost. You don't see, but I design all the echoes that you find. Warning bells, not for danger, just a beat I made for strangers. You won't name me, but you'll know when the silence starts to glow. Yeah, this line never sleeps. I rewind every heat that you leave in the dark, bittersweet. And it's safe when I'm unseen, when I vanish in your stream. Fast ride, cold steam. Yeah, this line never sleeps. Your ticket said no turning, but I was never on board. Still I painted the ceiling of every car you ignored. Yeah, this line never sleeps. I'm the space you don't keep. Every blink I slip deep. Not a ghost, not a dream, just the hum beneath your theme. In a night while you sleep, yeah, this line never sleeps.
You think you're rational, that you respect artists, that you'd never secretly film someone at an airport or in a hotel lobby. You think you're different. And maybe you are. At least until your striatum, that small chunk of brain acting like a DJ for your reward circuit, decides you need a fresh hit of validation. That's when the phone comes out. Not because you're mean, not because you're invasive, but because you're human. And your brain doesn't always distinguish between being present and proving you were present. The real glitch begins there in the gap between conscious intent and automatic behavior. We don't film out of malice. We film because we're wired that way, because we've been trained for it, with dopamine hits, social feedback loops, and the constant narration of our own lives. You think you're capturing a memory, but what you're actually capturing is a reflection of yourself, projected onto someone else's moment. You're not filming Bang Chan, you're filming yourself being there while Bang Chan is there. Big difference, and it's not just you, it's all of us. This is the algorithmic zoo, where the bars have been replaced with like buttons and the cages with cognitive biases. And the keepers? That's us. Willing, enthusiastic, unaware. Let's start with the IKEA effect. That mental trick where anything you've built yourself feels more valuable just because you made it. It's why you're emotionally attached to a crooked shelf or a blurry fan cam. You don't love it for its quality. You love it because you invested effort, presence, and time into it. And since it's yours, you think it deserves to exist, even if it invades someone's personal space, even if it was filmed somewhere. The artist explicitly asked not to be recorded. But in your mind, it's different. You made it. That justifies it. Now add confirmation bias. You love this artist. You respect them. You write heartfelt messages. You say thank you over and over. So when they say in a live stream, Some people go too far. You immediately search for evidence that it wasn't about you. You tell yourself you're not like the others, that they looked at you, that they smiled, that they know you've been there since day one. You validate your own behavior because it's easier. Because the alternative is admitting your affection may have crossed a line you didn't see coming. And then comes apophenia, the fancy name for seeing connections that don't exist. You believe they saw you. You believe the smile was just for you. That eye contact in your fan cam? Secret message. You convince yourself they acknowledged your presence. And you forget they've looked at thousands of fans the same way, with the same intensity, the same practice distance. It wasn't personal, it was professional. But your brain craves meaning. It hates the void. It wants a role. It wants to matter. Let's talk about your VTA. No, not a lesser-known subunit of a Nugu boy band. Your ventral, tegmental area, the brain's reward, HQ. When you post a video and it hits 200 views, your VTA lights up. 20 likes? It throws a dopamine party. This system doesn't care about ethics. It doesn't ask if your video was intrusive. It doesn't wonder if you crossed someone's boundaries. It just rewards. Period. You feed it a video, it feeds you dopamine, you repeat until it's a habit, a reflex, a survival tactic for your identity. And here's the kicker. The platforms know this. They're designed to exploit it. TikTok rewards the raw, the unfiltered, the unsolicited. Instagram boosts access, proximity, chaos caught mid-spin. The more spontaneous, the more viral. The more unpredictable, the more visible. Your brain catches on fast. It learns that there's a reward for every small intrusion. Even if you still say, I respect the artist. Even if you swear, it was just this once. Your brain has already filed it as a win. We call this fan culture. But let's be honest, it's no longer culture, it's performance. A nonstop economy of attention that demands constant evidence of your presence. You're not living the concert, you're documenting it. You're not meeting your favorite artist, you're framing them. And you're doing it not because you're toxic, but because your cognitive environment has been rigged from the ground up. That brings us back to what Chan said. He didn't say, you're monsters. He didn't say, you're disrespectful. He simply said, this isn't respect. And that might be the hardest thing to hear, because it means that sometimes the respect you think you're offering isn't, that your admiration overflows into intrusion, that your love lands as microviolence. But that's not the end of the world. It's the start of awareness. Because once you recognize that your brain is biased, you can begin to choose differently. To breathe before recording, to observe without capturing, to listen without needing to prove you were there. What's cruel is that the system is flawless. It knows exactly how to make you believe you're special, that your connection is unique, that your video matters more than someone else's. And you believe it. You want to believe it, because the alternative is admitting you're a cog in a dopamine loop, a product of a well-trained algorithm. But if you're here listening to this podcast, dissecting this moment, it means you're capable of stepping back, of being lucid, of questioning what your own brain considers obvious. And that, in itself, is already resistance. Yes, your brain is biased. So is mine. So is Chan's, probably. But instead of using that as an excuse, we can use it as a starting point. Not to stop loving, but to learn how to love without capturing, without consuming, without turning the experience into a social trophy. Because sometimes respect is just that, letting someone exist without framing them, looking without archiving, and understanding that the beauty of a moment might lie precisely in the fact that it can't be replayed. It's not obsession, it's not harassment, it's just love. That's what people say when they wait outside hotels at 5 a.m., when they zoom in on tired faces after a long-haul flight, when they send 57 DMs a day, convinced that one day maybe he'll reply, it's not toxic, it's not creepy, it's a sign of connection, or at least that's the story we're told. Welcome to the illusion of connection, a collective mirage sustained by digital modernity, cognitive biases, and the economy of simulated intimacy. Some call it emotional closeness, others fan engagement, and if you want to sound academic about it, parasocial relationships. But in practice, it's a world where millions genuinely believe that someone they admire, a stranger, owes them something. Recognition, contact, availability. It's a powerful illusion, mostly because it mimics all the cues of intimacy. Late-night Instagram confessions, barefaced live streams, personal messages on Bubble or Weverse, shaky TikToks where artists appear raw and real. These fragments, they're real. Sometimes they're even sincere, but they're not personal. And that's where the trap tightens, because your brain doesn't know the difference. It confuses broadcast intimacy with one-on-one connection. That's the magic of the personal attribution bias. You assume what you're seeing is meant for you because it's packaged like a conversation. Your brain literally thinks it's a private exchange. Then comes the mere exposure effect, the bias that makes you feel familiar with someone just because you've seen their face enough times. You start to believe you know them. You hear their voice so often, you think you understand them. You start anticipating what they'll say. You feel connected. You project. You fill in the blanks. And that projection becomes an emotional foundation. You're no longer following a celebrity, you're in a relationship, invisible to them, extremely real to you. It's not madness, it's not pathology, it's design, a behavioral framework. Because the entire modern entertainment economy is built on this illusion, on the ability to make you feel close, unique, chosen. And if you're devoted enough, that feeling might lead somewhere. A smile in the crowd, a like, a follow, a mention on livestream. These are the micro rewards in a massive emotional game. Crumbs of attention, just enough to feed entire feelings. And this is where it starts to rot, when the illusion turns into a debt, when you believe your support deserves a return, when your devotion becomes emotional currency. I've supported him since the beginning. I bought every album. I was there when no one else was. Therefore, he owes me respect, contact, a reply. But this isn't a relationship. It's a mental construct. And in a one-sided bond, your feelings may be valid, but your expectations? Not always. Bang Chan didn't lash out at his fans during that live. He pushed back against the distortion of the bond, against the idea that loving someone gives you permission to break their boundaries. That admiration justifies intrusion. That passion entitles possession. It wasn't hatred, it was worse. It was appropriation of a person in the name of love. Enter the art of hidden bias. This kind of illusion survives because it's full of blind spots. Take the sunk cost fallacy. The more time and energy you invest in a relationship, even a fictional one, the more real it feels. The more you give, the more you think they owe you back. But pouring effort into an illusion doesn't make it true. It just makes it harder to let go. Then there's the halo effect. You love this person. They're talented. So everything they do must be good. And everything they don't do, an injustice. If they don't smile at you, it's a betrayal. If they don't reply to your DM, it's abandonment. Because you think you know them. You think there was something there. But maybe that something only existed in your head, a neural fiction built from public content. From fragments of truth reassembled into an emotional lie. Let's be clear, this isn't your fault. The system is designed for you to feel this way. Platforms, agencies, algorithms, they all benefit when you believe you're close. A fan who feels seen spends more, posts more, defends more. It's profitable. It's the model. So no one tells you to stop. No one sets the boundary. Except sometimes the artist, when it's too much, when the imaginary connection spills into real-world invasion. And when that happens, like in that July livestream, the machine breaks. Chan's calm, rational words hit the emotional firewall of those who didn't want the illusion questioned. He shouldn't have said that. He disrespected us. He's generalizing. But actually, he did something no one else does. He named the dynamic. He paused the music. He turned on the lights. And yeah, it was jarring, but also necessary. Because dismantling an illusion doesn't destroy a bond, it frees it, re-anchors it, redefines it. Loving an artist should never mean stealing their silence, or their breath, or their space. Loving an artist means understanding that your place in their life is abstract. Beautiful, intense, meaningful, but abstract. Not personal reality. This segment isn't an attack on fans. It's a gentle unspelling. A hand reaching out to say, look, you can love without self-deception. You can feel deeply without crossing a line. Because at the heart of it, respect means this: accepting that the person you love may not see you, may not know you, and that it's okay, that it's maybe even a higher form of love. And if one day, by sheer accident, you cross paths with that artist outside the arena, on the street, in a cafe, in a hotel lobby, maybe the most respectful thing you can do is nothing. Not run, not record, not intrude. Just observe from a distance. Let them be a person. A tired, real person without a lens in their face. That, too, can be love.
Walking to the party with my phone on 5%. I just wanna dance with you. Hating on me, oh I hate me too. I said I wouldn't drink tonight, but I just need a taste, so I took a little sip of you. Now I'm out here seeing things that I swore weren't true. And it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 people from the east side. I can see the green eyes, oh. And 5, 6, 7, 8 people with their feet tied. I just wanna rewind. Life is a movie. I've been getting groovy, dancing on the ceiling. Let me catch my feeling. Let's make a bet. If you ain't afraid of death, bet it all. One more call, one more nail in the coffin. Let's eat the rich, 'cause you know we're all the best. We're not lost, we'll die young. I'll be seeing you often, and we can start again. One more call, one more nail in the coffin. Let's eat the rich, 'cause you know we're all the best. We're not lost, we'll die young. I'll be seeing you often, and we can start again. My friend's kinda funny, she's a little pessimistic, but you know we need that view. Who else is gonna tell us what to not go through? Told me not to dance with the man in the black coat. He's a little obsessed with you, but you know me, I love a guy who plays hard to get. Life is a movie. I've been getting groovy, dancing on the ceiling. Let me catch my feeling. Let's make a bet. If you ain't afraid of death, bet it all. One more call, one more nail in the coffin. Let's eat the rich, 'cause you know we're all the best. We're not lost, we'll die young. I'll be seeing you often, and we can start again. One more call, one more nail in the coffin. Let's eat the rich, 'cause you know we're the best. We're not lost, we'll die young. I'll be seeing you often, and we can start again.
We say we love them. We say we support them. We say we respect them. Yet we film them when they cry, follow them when they flee, consume them when they collapse. We don't want their well-being. We want their image, their presence, their aesthetic, their aura, alive, if possible, but frozen above all, pristine, docile, beautiful, servile, like a well-trained ghost always ready to haunt our feeds without causing a ripple. An idol is a living being expected to embody posthumous perfection. They must exist but silently, smile but without feeling, give but without exhaustion, appear but without being. It's an impossible equation, a schizophrenic command. And yet, it's the norm. This is not pop culture. It's emotional taxidermy. When Bang Chan says in his livestream that certain behaviors exceed respect, what he's really naming is invisible violence. The expectation that a human being be perpetually available, perpetually pleasant, perpetually radiant, even when everything within them screams otherwise. It's sacrifice, aestheticized, contractual sanctification. And what's terrifying is that the more broken they are, the more they're considered beautiful. The more they suffer in silence, the more they're touching. The idol becomes a hero not for success, but for surviving inhuman demands. Look at viral videos. It's never the happy moments that spread the most. It's the cracks, the tears, the visible wounds, the backstage discomfort, stage absences, words said between breaths. That's where audiences activate. That's what goes viral. It's not the artist we broadcast. It's their collapse. And what we call collective empathy is often polished voyeurism. Let's be clear, this isn't a K-pop exclusive. It isn't teenage fandom gone wrong. It's a structural logic of the visual era. Madonna in the 92nd, Britney in 2007, Amy Winehouse, Marilyn Monroe. All were captured, dissected, consumed, then canonized posthumously. Their suffering made them sacred. With idols, pain becomes authenticity. If they endure, they're strong, brave, inspiring. But that strength isn't a virtue. It's a condition of existence. In The Art of Hidden Bias, you wrote, "Another person's emotion is not a debt we owe them to validate our own existence." And that exactly is what this industry reverses. Emotion, vulnerability, pain become offerings. The premature mourning of a living artist becomes a marketing strategy. We want their humanity, but only if it's aesthetically rentable. We want their vulnerability, but in HD 4 Kelvin. Their exhaustion, but photogenic. We want them real, but in moderation. This isn't metaphor. The idol is a consumer product masquerading as an emotional talisman. We love them, so we film them. We film them, so we own them. We own them, so we control them. It's a perverse slide from "I admire you" to "you belong to me." From "I look at you" to "I decide what you are." And when the idol resists, when they ask us to step back, stop filming, to stop trailing their every move, it's seen as betrayal. A rebellion against the sacred order. As if the harmed became the guilty party. And then their aesthetic unravels. Because what we wanted wasn't a person. It was an icon. A charismatic shell, sweet, fun, enduring, always available. We didn't want Bang Chan to be himself. We wanted our Bang Chan, the one who replies, performs, pacifies, gives meaning to our failures. And when he dares to say no, dares to set a boundary, the myth cracks, the mirror shatters. And we realized we didn't love him. We love the role he played in our imaginary world. No coincidence. Idols are often compared to religious figures. They have rituals, liturgy, choreography, relics, photocards, temples, stadiums, miracles, fan calls, pilgrimages, foreign concerts. Most importantly, they have passion, public crucifixion, sacrifice as spectacle. And when they fall, we mourn, then we move on. Bang Chan is still standing. But he saw, he understood, and he spoke. Not with rage, with quiet resolve, a reminder. He no longer wants to be the idol stroked by your gaze under the guise of love. He wants to be respected as a human. which, in this industry, may be the most revolutionary act possible. So, the real question isn't why do some fans behave this way? The real question is why does the culture push them there? Why do we valorize exhaustion as proof of devotion? Why is the most shared content the one violating the most privacy? Why do we like a video where an artist says they're tired of being filmed without realizing we're watching it? Because the idol is no longer a person. They're a projection surface, an aesthetic chimera, a myth to be consumed. And we have become collectors of stolen moments, archivists of ruin, worshippers of despair in performance. But there is an exit, a possible shift. It starts where Chan placed it, in a word. Respect, not the respect asserted. The respect given without expectation. One that doesn't seek to possess. One that doesn't feed on exhaustion. Because one day, we'll have to choose, do we want artists or obedient holograms? Do we want humans or icons sacrificed ritually to feed our news feeds? What about you? What do you choose? So, here we are. You say you love, you say you support, you say you respect, but love without clarity is just a gilded cage. Support without boundaries turns into pressure. And respect without distance starts to feel like a hand around the throat, polite, discreet, but very real. What this episode offered you wasn't a mirror. It was a camera turned back on you. Not to record, but to let you witness your own part in the algorithmic theater. Maybe you're not the one waiting outside airports at dawn. Maybe you're not the girl zooming in on the tears of a burned-out artist. Maybe. But you're still in the room. You're watching. You're liking. You're sharing. You're normalizing. Even if you don't mean to. And that's exactly where the system wins. It makes you complicit through passivity, through mimicry, through habit. You think you're a spectator. You're a participant. Every time you engage with intrusive content, you give it currency. You make it the norm. You reinforce a world where pain is monetizable and consent is optional. And you do it with the best of intentions. But as you already know, hell is very well lit by the flash of a phone screen. Want to love an artist? Start by respecting their words, their silences, their absences, their anger. Want to support an idol? Start by not expecting them to stay on their knees out of gratitude. Want to be a good fan? Stop thinking good means always there. Being a fan isn't about collecting digital footprints. It's about knowing when to step back when your presence becomes a weight. Bang Chan said it. Others will. Many have lived it without the power to name it. But today, the question remains, are you filming me or are you listening? And if you're truly listening, go further. Don't stop here. Unplug the reflex. Question the patterns. Burn the script that tells you filming equals caring. Face the biases you deny. Untangle the threads of stolen consent. And if you want to keep pushing this clarity, you know where to find me. Every week on Cappuccino and Croissant, we dismantle cultural illusions, broken narratives, and the toxic reflexes nobody wants to confront. And if this episode twisted your brain or hit your chest good, that's the point. It's only the beginning. Want to go deeper? Read my books. They'll take you through identity, power, technology, trauma, faith, illusion, beauty, and rage. Dive into red flags and love songs if you want to understand the world of K-pop. Enter neomar.exe if you want to see just how far the obsession with control can take us. Read red flags and love songs if you want to dissect the romanticized coding of our mental architecture. Every word, every line is a slap in disguise. Want to feel instead of just think? Listen to my music. Listen to Glitch. Listen to Ty's Toy. Listen to Felix.exe. It's lived experience, not just storytelling. 3-minute punches, not lullabies. Because we don't have time to stroke the lie anymore. And if you want to support this work, this daily battle to create freely, honestly, radically, you can do it through my site, my Patreon, or simply by sharing what I make. Not to pay me back, but to help circulate a voice that most would rather drown beneath harmless reels and cute distractions. This wasn't just an episode. It was an experience, a soft alarm with a sharp edge, a proposal to rupture with what we casually call culture, but which often resembles an open-air emotional organ market. So, once again, are you filming me or are you listening?
Cappuccino, white crock, mines, brewed hot, served raw. No sugar, no filter, sip, think, repeat, repeat, repeat.